Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're having a lovely day. In this week's video, I wanted to take you along with me as I tried to capture some images that I'm going to use for a painting that I'm hoping to work on very soon. And I really wanted the focus to be the flowers that are already in my garden and coming to the end of their life. I wanted to see if I could take some photographs and use them as my reference material instead of using the royalty-free image websites that I would normally use. So that's what I'm doing here. It's not very glamorous. I am putting flowers in my kitchen sink and adding milk. I had seen this sort of style of photography a few years ago. I think they call it milk baths, and I really like the sort of ethereal look that you can get with it. And like I say, this is just in my kitchen sink. It doesn't look great, but the whole point of me doing this was to come up with my own reference images that I could photograph and then edit how I like and paint. So the entire image will be completely my own, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm to edit out those wee beasties, and yeah, come along with me as I edit. When taking these photos, I just used my phone. I didn't do any particular settings, and then I have used the Snapseed app for editing. It's a free app that you can use, and I really recommend it. I think it's great. I've got Photoshop and things for, bigger photography projects that I can use, but for the sake of my silly little YouTube channel, I just use the Snapseed app. And the first thing that I always do is crop to get my composition and see what layout I'm going to work with first. So the next thing that I do is I use the adjustments layer, and within there I'm able to up the brightness. That's usually my first port of call, is really up the brightness. I've noticed that the phone images when I take them are really quite dull, so that's the first thing. And then I'll normally change the saturation just to make the colours pop a little bit. Not too much. If you do it too much, it can look really fake, so I just up those a little bit, and then I play around with the other settings and see what kind of effects that they give as well. One of the things that I really like about this app is that you can just tap and hold on the screen to see the before and after of your picture and see how the edits are looking. It's just a handy little way of looking at what you've done before you move on. So yeah, next step is editing out all those little bugs, little imperfections. I try and keep this to a minimum, and you'll see me making lots of errors. Sometimes, it just doesn't work, and there's no fixing it with an app like this. It's quite limited what you can do here. In Photoshop, you've got a much wider selection of tools for fixing these little things. So I'm just working with what I've got and seeing if I can make it look any better, knowing that later on I'm going to blur quite a lot of this, so I don't need to be too perfect here. I'm just sort of trying to get the main sort of distracting bits out of the way. So now that all of the main edits are done, it's time for my favourite part of the editing process, which is blurring everything. And for this I use the Glamour Glow feature that's within the app already, and it's just got some really nice effects for giving it this glowy look, and it sort of blurs the imperfections for you. So that's the first step, and then I go on to my trusty lens blur tool, where I can change the shape of the area that I'm blurring and move that around until I get the desired effect. This time round I decided I wasn't quite happy with the finished look, so I added one more adjustment layer to up the brightness again, and then decided to give it a bit of a tint as well. I went for this sort of pinkish colour, and I was quite happy with it. by the end of it, but I must say, I think because I knew that I was screen recording, I kept making silly mistakes, and I wasn't entirely happy with the finished image, but it's a start, and I've since created more images and edited them a bit better than this one, so I'll add them in at the end of the video so you can see what else I've decided to do with the images. But I just thought this was quite an important video to make. I know it's a bit different, but I think it's important to try and come up with your own reference images when you can. I know it's not always possible, and Google's very handy for providing us with images which we can copy and paste. But I think it's nice to challenge yourself to take your own reference images if you can and see what you can come up with. So thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful to people who maybe haven't used photo editing software or apps, and it's just a very quick overview of how to maybe go about creating your own edits. So thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next video where I would very much like to get this painted.